What's up, guys? This is Rise, and welcome to the show that everyone loves, that only non-spicy Saturday enthusiasts hate. The show where the teams are made up, the elo doesn't matter, and it's all about the spice. That's right, this is Spicy Saturday. And you know, I have to say something. I have to get something off my chest. I got a comment recently on a video, I think it was on a previous Spicy Saturday, that says, Rise only showcases other people's spicy battles. He doesn't run spice anymore himself. And you know what? I took that personally. So I decided to run Shadow Omastar in the Go Battle League in plus 3,000 elo. And we are going to Hydro Pump unsuspecting Carbinks left and right. You've come to the right place if you're an Omastar lover, if you're a Pokemon Go PvP lover, and if you're a Carbink hater, you've come to the right place. We are running Shadow Steelix, Cresselia, and Omastar. And I'm just forewarning you, Omastar is going to put in work in this video. He's going to put in work. The opponent tried to embarrass me. They tried to catch a potential Earthquake on their Mandibuzz. And we are swapping in the Omastar. It's an air/Mandibuzz, so this is even better for Omastar. We're going to try and throw on proper timing here. Omastar is very frail. He's very glassy. So you do kind of have to shield up moves that would indeed hurt Omastar. Looks like I'm willing to take this next foul play here. But as you see, that did quite a bit of damage. Going up to maximum energy. Probably would have been better to throw after one, because I think I went slightly over 100 energy. But Omastar is doing his thing. In comes the Carbink. We're going for the Hydro Pump, baby. Do they know? Look at Omastar wiggling. He's so scary looking. Boom! Look at that damage on the Carbink. Doesn't quite knock it out. But look at that Hydro Pump damage. We have a Psychic Fangs loaded. So we're going to throw it here to potentially force a shield off the opponent. They shield to get off their Moonblast. But I'm going to be able to debuff whatever Pokemon is in the back. Moonblast comes through. And it's a Poliwrath. So I'm going to throw the Psychic Fangs. And then get out of here into my Cresselia. And we should be in a pretty good spot. Cresselia, very good matchup, of course, against Poliwrath. And we collect the W. Omastar, the first battle with Omastar. Landing the Hydro Pump on the Carbink. Next battle, tough lead. Rise, what the heck do you do against a Poliwrath lead? Well, this is where the OP-ness of Steelix comes into play. Where we're just going to stay in. And we're going to try and limit as much damage that this Poliwrath can do to our team. So here comes a move from Poly. I'm going to be willing to shield because I should reach my second Psychic Fangs first, so I can either get a shield back or win switch advantage here. Steelix doing OP Steelix things. Psychic Fangs coming through. What's the opponent going to elect to do? They're going to shield. And I think they probably could have got the counter down, so a slight misplay from the opponent here as they expend energy. And we're going to let this go. We're going to come in with Cresselia, Psycho Cut down. Get a little bit of a head start. What's going to greet our Cresselia? Let's see. What is their Cresselia answer? It's a Mandibuzz, so not great, but not the worst. And oh, baby. Oh, baby, it's another Carbink. We're going straight for the, straight for the Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump. Get pumped. Carbink, that sounds a little bit weird. But we're going to actually shield this and go for the Mud Shot down. Theoretically, I should have actually undercharged the Hydro Pump to give myself more Mud Shots here. But I wasn't exactly sure how much to undercharge. Gonna go for the Rock Slide. This will probably draw a shield from the Mandibuzz. As Omastar has such a high attack compared to Cresselia, it'll do more damage. But this still doesn't look great. This still doesn't look great for us because Mandibuzz has a favorable matchup against Cresselia. However, we are ahead on energy, so maybe Toon Moonblast. Could that possibly be enough? Let's see how much this does. Boom! Doesn't quite do half health. So I don't think we can win this. I think the only chance we have is if we get really lucky with a Moonblast debuff, as that Dark Pulse does about half of our remaining health. Going for the Moonblast. Is there any way we can summon Lord Helix, the Omastar, for the debuff? Yes, we can! When you run Shadow Omastar, you get the debuffs on your side. RNGesus, hello. The debuff allows us to live the Dark Pulse, and we get to the Grass Knot. Extremely fortunate, extremely lucky. But we got the debuff. And don't hate the playa, hate the game. I see you in the chat. I don't know, Jason. Wow, Rise. You shouldn't have won that game too. You got lucky with the Moonblast debuff. Yo, Jason, don't hate the playa, hate the game, my man. I'm playing by the rules. And Cresselia got the debuff. Next opponent, running a Mantine lead. Bit of a neutral matchup-ish. I mean, Mantine has Ice Beam, which threatens our Steelix, but we do resist the fast move, so I would say Steelix slightly favored in this matchup. They also bait us with Aerial Ace, which is kind of surprising. Going for the Psychic Fangs here, going to debuff that defense of the Mantine. Mantine, very bulky, takes it well. In comes their own Steelix, and here's where it's a little bit dicey, right? Because Cresselia is not going to love this matchup, and Omastar, despite being a water type, not going to love this matchup because I don't really threaten the Steelix unless I get to a Hydro Pump, which takes quite a while to get to. So we're just going to stay in here with our own Steelix. We get more luck with the debuffs. This is crazy. It's like 3 consecutive debuffs. What's going on? He does Earthquake us, but I will be able to Mud Shot down here. Let's see what he comes in with. If he comes in with the Mantine, I know he might be double weak to this Omastar. So I'm surprised to see this Mantine come back. We're going for the Rock Slide, baby. Omastar looking very creepy. No disrespect. Let me know what you think. Is there anyone in the comments that thinks Omastar is like cute? I think he looks... I am the first... You guys know. I never stop talking about how cute like Greedent is. Omastar, I don't find very cute. I think he's a little weird, but we're all a little weird in our own way. Going for another Hydro Pump on the Carbink. Finally, it gets shielded. That would have been the 3rd Hydro Pump landed on a Carbink. That would have been crazy. We go for the Grass Knot here. Cresselia with a favorable matchup against the Carbink. And as long as I can get rid of this Carbink without Omastar having to see it again, I think Omastar should be able to close out the game against the Mantine. Moonblast connects on our Cresselia, but Cresselia paces to these Grass Knots so quickly compared to the pacing of Carbink. We should be in a pretty good spot here. Grass Knot connects. We're 1 off. Just going to throw this right away, which should knock out the Carbink. Mantine is still there, but we still have a shield to hide behind. So I am simply going to let this go. If they were to throw their move, they decide to concede, and that is a G to the G. All right, the main event. Mr. Harjeff, arguably the best player in the world, but can the best player in the world beat a Shadow Omastar? Oh my gosh. Going for the Psychic Fangs. Favorable lead for us against this Lickitung. Apologies for the notification there. He swaps in Skeledirge, and we've got our Omastar to counter the Skeledirge. Let's go, baby. Double resisting the Incinerate damage with our Rock Water typing. Harjeff probably thinks we're like sniping him somehow. I don't think he was streaming, but he probably thinks somehow we're sniping him with our Omastar. Not the case, Harjeff. If you're seeing this, wasn't a snipe. I was running this team for an entire set. And here we go. Omastar knocks out the Skeledirge. And now Lickitung comes back in. I kind of wanted to shield since I know he's probably going to Power Whip here, but I decided to play it safer, keep my alignment, and gonna wait out my timer, come back in with Steelix. Steelix doing his thing. We're going to Psychic Fangs right away, which I don't love because I assume he'll probably clear the debuff after this. So maybe I should have built up more energy. In comes the Poliwrath, but we have a Cresselia for the Shadow Poliwrath. Probably should have Grass Knotted because before you get debuffed, I think Grass Knot does quite a bit of damage. So probably should have just Grass Knotted before potential debuff. Now I get debuff, so now Grass Knot doesn't quite do as much as I would need it to do. So we're going to go for the Moonblast here, but we should still be chilling. Poliwrath going to pace us to another move. This is going to hurt Cress, but Cress is very bulky. We'll be able to tank it. He does get 2 debuffs now. I'm hoping the Moonblast is enough after we've been debuffed twice. Come on, Cress. Super effective Moonblast is still enough. And we are going to bank our Grass Knot, dip into Steelix, and we should be in a good spot here. Power Whip will do a lot, but not quite enough to knock us out. So I'm just going to commit to the Crunch here, since Crunch should be enough to knock out from this range. And Shadow Steelix is going to deliver the final blow and knock out the shiny Lickitung. Also, there was a 5th game. That game was 4-0, and there was a 5th game. I was super disappointed, and I looked back that it didn't get recorded because we led into a Shadow Magnezone, and it was like kind of an awkward situation because he swapped out, and then there was like a lot of dancing around. And basically what ended up happening was it ended up being Shadow Magnezone against my Omastar in back with like one shield still up. And he knew he couldn't like wild charge and like debuff his defense. So we both committed to fast moves, and the mud shot damage of my Shadow Omastar outpaced the Volt Switch damage from his Magnezone. So like 6 mud shots was enough to KO the Magnezone, and I lived like 3 Volt Switches. So it was the craziest endgame ever. And I so wish I had that game recorded because it was a really good game. But yeah, that was the one to sync up the 5-0. I think the hard Jeff game was 4-0, and we had the crazy commit to mud shots against the Magnezone for a 5-0. So that was a pretty crazy one. And it was close enough where I believe if I had thrown a Rock Slide, I would have lost. So it was a nice little read. One bonus battle, and Omastar not featured in this one, but I decided to feature this bonus battle because it was a really exciting one anyway. And here we go. Steelix into Galarian Weezing. Going for the Psychic Fangs here, dealing super effective damage. And this is always just a bait game, right? Are you going to get Brutal Swing baited? Are they going to go for the overheat? I decided to try and call it. Unsuccessful, so I get overheated. Gonna swap into Gligar, met by Mandibuzz, and this is not looking great with how healthy that Weezing still is. But I am thinking, okay, at least I lure this out, and my Skeledirge is gonna get to avoid the Mandibuzz, so maybe we still have some play here. Going for the Aerial Ace, and check this out. The opponent actually shields, which catches me off guard. I'm like, wow, that's an interesting shield. So maybe they're afraid of this Gligar in the back. Who knows? Gligar spamming off another Aerial Ace. The Shadow variant of Gligar does some pretty impressive damage with the cheap energy cost move of Aerial Ace. Dark Pulse is going to connect onto our Gligar. Dunebug messaging us during the battle, trying to distract us, but Gligar is going to try to prevail. Another Aerial Ace coming through. Will they expend their second shield, or will they let this go? Opponent lets the Mandibuzz go. Weezing comes back, and this is going to be enough to knock out our Gligar. We're putting this all on the back of our Skeledirge now. Skeledirge gets one Incinerate through. I know how spammy this Weezing is to Brutal Swing, so I'm not going to be willing to shield the first. I will, of course, have to shield the second. Our opponent makes a little bit of a mistake and falls for the catch. And this is going to allow us to preserve our final shield. In comes a Poliwrath. Disarming Voice coming through. Super effective damage. Grabs the shield. And then I'm thinking, okay, I think Shadow Ball does more raw damage than the Disarming Voice in this situation. So I go for the Shadow Ball. It connects. Can we get the farm down? We do. We just need to live 2 Fairy Winds. 1 Incinerate connects first. And we steal the win from the opponent. Wow. A pretty crazy battle there in that last one. Shadow Omastar landed, was it 2 or 3 Hydro Pumps on Carbinks, and a nice little bonus battle in that last one when we went away from the Omastar. I went 5-0 in my first 5 battles with Omastar. Then we had someone that was tanking that had hit like really high in the leaderboards. I think it was Famo. He like top lefted against us, so that doesn't really count for the 6th battle in a row. And then we lost a couple after that. So we lost a couple, and then I went away from Omastar. But I was super stoked to get a 5-0 with Shadow Omastar in the 3000s range. Got us up to like 3090 elo. And it shows you that sometimes these spicy little picks can be effective when put in the right spot. The reason I decided to run it was I was seeing a lot of like Mantine, a decent amount of Skeledirge. So I felt like it made sense a little bit in the meta, seeing Mandibuzz, and as you saw, Carbink as well. Like it got quite a few favorable matchups within that 5-0, and we were certainly lucky to win that game where the Chris Elliott got the Moonblast debuff. Shout out to Lord Helix, as someone said in my Discord. But all that said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you are new, comment down below. All comments are appreciated. And all that said, thank you once again for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.